Hello everybody, this is Stefan from Lush and Salty Aquariums. How are we doing? All right, it's evening time, obviously. That's the window, that's the night. I'm looking at our 10-gallon heavily planted nano tank. Okay, so this tank, if you remember, I had a major piece of beautiful bogwood anchoring the whole system. The concept was to have it be the centerpiece, the aquascape, and basically have plants in betwixt and between, and that's exactly what I've done. Now this tank has been up for a couple years now. I've had different plants emerging from the top, and eventually they can get reedy or overgrown and a little leggy because this isn't the natural way a lot of these house plants grow. It will work, sometimes remarkably well, but it's imperfect. So sometimes I just yank them out when it seems time and start a new one. So in this case, I have this lovely little what do you call it, spider plant, and it's doing great. The roots are they grow very rapidly, but they're white and kind of puffy. I think they're not the same as if they were underground, and that's both the wonderfulness and the problem. Eventually, I don't think this is the correct way that nature intended the plant to grow, so it will probably fail. But by then, I'll have moved on to another system, another aquascape, who knows. I love the effect though, and it's so super easy. These nanolights are 25 bucks a piece. I put two on because I wanted to cut through the bogwood to illuminate all these creatures in the tank. So getting to the creatures in the tank, what it is basically a shit ton of guppies, mostly endlers, but there's a few mosaics left, and they're getting older. You see that they have the ratty tails. That's more from age than anything else. Nobody really picks on them. I mean, these are all males, so they're feisty, but that's just, these fish are at least 4 years old. Every one of these fish I raised in other tanks, so they all were fry in my other tanks, and I've got a fraternity of males of all different sorts of endlers and a couple of those mosaics left. I have a few of these white albino hyphen tetras. I forget, there's other names. Very common fish. You see them in Petco a lot. I had a bigger school. The plan was, because this tank generally is dark and in its own way, that driftwood creates a lot of peat color. I wanted fish that would pop, like this great endler here and these white tetras there. Now I have, this is interesting, and I want to show you guys a couple interesting things that are unique to this tank. This male beta, I'm 90% certain is blind. If you saw its eyes, they're completely white over, so I think it has cataracts, and I've observed its behavior for over a year, and it just doesn't see food. So I invariably put different kinds, bloodworms, blackworms, brine shrimp, and pellets by him, and he'll eventually detect them and eat them. But if you could see his eyes, there's one. You see how it's basically the same exact color of his skin? I don't think it can see. I think it's a blind fish. It didn't start that way. It developed cataracts, but I'm trying to keep him alive, and he is alive. And though his behavior is different, he's very docile. He will swim high in the tank, but mostly he finds a little place to chill. And again, a lot of betas do that anyway, but I think this one especially, because I'm almost certain it's blind. Now, he happens to be by the other feature I want to show you, which is this incredible growth from an Anubias plant. And now you can see this isn't specific to them, a rhizome. They grow along a stalk, and the roots usually are going to be in the wood portion or on rock. But here it started that way, but the rhizome emerged from the piece of bogwood or whatever it was anchored on, and just is continuing across the soil. And you see how at the end it comes up in a traditional plant-like manner, but that rhizome will continue to grow, and it'll grow up and up this way or down along the tank, either way. But I think that's a fantastic representation on how the Anubias plant grows from a rhizome. Now, if I wanted to propagate this, it would be easy. I'd take a heavy scissors, because that's not going to be so simple to chop through, and I'd just cut a couple inches from the segment and crazy glue it to a piece of rock or driftwood, and that would be that. Or I could just stick it up and in here somewhere, like you see these other plants which are not part of that same organism. It's the same species or very similar, but that one is up and in there and started as a 2 to 4 inch piece, as did all these other segments. So the blind white platinum beta and the awesome rhizome of Anubias, creating in a sense a ground cover that's pretty fantastic in this particular tank. So tell me what you think. Questions, I'm happy to reply. And as usual, always keep your hands in the tank. Ciao for now.